In this video lecture, I'll be explaining to you what is a recursive function or recursion. We'll see where all recursion is used, and we'll try to get a very good understanding of the recursive function using a very simple example. With that said, hey guys, I'm Amir Salam, and on this particular channel I upload content related to coding, technology and self-development. If there is something within your interest, then consider subscribing to my channel. Now without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the topic. First of all, what is a recursive function? Well, a recursive function is yet another function, but the twist here is this function keeps on calling itself repeatedly for n number of time until a desired solution is reached. I repeat, a recursive function is a type of function which calls itself repeatedly until a desired solution or a base case is reached. Now, to explain to you what is recursive function, I'll take a very basic example. Okay, let us suppose there is a mango hanging on top of the tree, and in order to get that mango you have to throw a stone. Now I'll consider throwing the stone to be a function and getting the mango to be the desired solution. Now until I get the mango, until I hit the mango, I'll keep on aiming at the mango and I'll keep on throwing the stone repeatedly. I'll keep on calling the function throw the stone. I'll keep on calling the function, or I'll keep on throwing the stone until I get the mango or until I get the solution. So this is a very basic example of a recursive function. So I hope now you have a very basic understanding of what is a recursive function. Now, why do we have to use a recursive function? Well, the speciality of recursive function is that it breaks down complex problems into smaller sub-problems. So we use a recursive function with which we'll break down complex problems into smaller sub-problems, and we'll try to solve them in a reverse order. That means we go from bottom up to the top. Now, recursive function have got two cases. One is the recursive case, another one is the base case. Now, what is a recursive case? We'll consider it to be a recursive case, a function to be a recursive case, if it can call itself and the problem can be further broken down into smaller sub-problem. That is when we call it a recursive case. But we'll reach up to a point where a problem cannot be further broken down into smaller sub-problems. That is known as the base case, and that we consider to be the final case for the recursive function, and we'll start moving in reverse order from there on. So now I hope you have an idea of what is recursive function, what is recursive case and base case. Now, where all is recursion used? Right now there are n number of domains where recursion is used. Now I've highlighted the top three. That is, one is mathematical calculation. You might have used this recursive function in Fibonacci series and to find factorials of number. Then we also use them in data structures in order to traverse trees and graphs, and we also use them in algorithmic problems such as searching and sorting. So recursion has got n number of use cases. I've highlighted the top three or the most known ones. Now here I have a very basic code I have written in C. This is a simple function, recursive function, which is calling itself in order to find the factorial of 4. I've written it 5 here in order to find factorial of 4. Now what is happening here is I have declared variable n and I have assigned value 4 to it. Now this is the function which I've named as factorial, and it is taking the parameter n. That means we'll be passing the value which is in n as a argument to it. Now I'll be checking if n is equal to 0, then we'll return 1. Remember, when n becomes equal to 0, that is the base case or the final case. Else we will return n multiplied by c. Again we are calling this function fact of n minus 1. Now this particular problem or a small block of code might seem a little confusing to you. We'll understand this using a very simple method, that is tracing. Now what happens is, as I've given n is equal to 4, now I'll be calling this function with value 4. Now what happens in this is I'll be returning n is 4 into, again I'm calling factorial of n minus 4 is 3. Now this will again call up itself, and what happens here is in fact of 3 again will return 3 into factorial of 3 minus 1 is 2. Now again this will call itself once again as with parameter value 2. So what happens is here it will return fact of 2 into again call itself fact of 2 minus 1 is 1. So here again it will return 1 into factorial of 1 minus 1 is 0. Now once it enters, once we pass 0 value, remember we have a if condition over here. When n becomes 0 or when n is equal to 0, it returns 1. So what happens, the value of this returns we've got the value as 1. So 1 into 1 is 1. We return value 1 into here. So 2 into 1 is 2. So we return value 2 here. 3 into 2 is 6. So we return value 6 here. And finally 4 into 6 is 24. We return value 24 here. So we get the value 24 as the result. I hope you've understood how the recursive function works. It keeps on calling itself until it reaches the base case, that is this, when n becomes 0, that is the base case, and hence we'll start moving in reverse order until we reach to the top. So this is how the recursive function works. Now I hope you have a very good understanding of recursive function. Now let us also discuss the advantages and disadvantages of recursive function. Well, the advantages is it simplifies the complex problems into smaller sub problems with which we can solve them easily, right? So as I said, it simplifies complex problems and it is easy to read and write. Now the other major disadvantages of a recursive function is that the memory usage, especially the stack memory usage, is pretty high, as it is keep on calling itself, and every time a function is called, it is stored in the stack memory. So it keeps on storing itself on top of each other in the stack memory, and the potential risk of stack overflow is high. Hence this might pose a problem in your when you are designing a very large scale program. Hence recursive functions are to be used very carefully. So this was all about recursive function. I hope you have understood what is recursive function or recursion. If you liked the video, then hit the like button. If you think it is worth subscribing, then consider subscribing to my channel. That's all for this particular video. See you in another one. Till then, bye bye.